I've been thinking a little bit about the frequency of obesity in America and all the related illnesses that come from that. And thinking that although there are a lot of different theories on why that is, I feel that for most people it really comes down to not dealing with unresolved emotional issues and then turning to food for a temporary fix. In my own experience, about 8 years ago, I weighed about 40 pounds more than I do now. I'm 5'11" and weigh around 170 pounds now. And back then I got up to I remember 208, and it kind of just gradually snuck up on me. And I didn't really understand it at the time, but I wanted to share about why I think that happened and how I was able to get back to a normal weight and have been able to maintain that without dieting or any kind of real hard work or anything like that for many years. I believe that at the time I started gaining weight, I was not dealing with my emotional issues. I was in a relationship where I was suppressing myself. I was suppressed emotionally and sexually, and so food was an easy way for me to turn to a source of nurturance. And so little by little I increased my caloric intake, and that's really what weight gain comes down to, is taking in more calories than you're burning off. So it was a gradual process, but I kept gaining weight. And I believe there are a lot of emotional associations with food that go back to childhood. You get a treat if you're good, you get a reward, and so often food is associated with nurturance. And for many people, if there is just different degrees of distance or coldness or dysfunction in a family, food becomes the one thing that we can count on. And when you're not fully loving yourself, you want nurturance in some form. And so if food has been associated with nurturance and it feels good temporarily, it's a way of grounding yourself if you feel isolated or lonely and so forth. It just makes sense that food can be abused like anything else that feels good. So what I found is that psychologically, food, which can become this object of positivity in our mind, our associations, a lot of times what people may do then is to flip the switch and make it a negative association through a restrictive diet, taking away things that they enjoy. And of course there are times where there might be certain things that are just, they do more damage than good. But for the most part, you can still enjoy everything that you like without overindulging. But in order to get to that place, I believe it takes doing emotional work, and most importantly, being able to feel your pain. The greatest strength I believe you can achieve in terms of personal growth is the ability to sit with pain without having to react to it. And by reacting, that could be alcohol, drugs, other addictive behavior and so forth, and certainly food. Food is something that can be abused, but it's also readily available, unlike a lot of drugs. And so it's always there to turn to. But with practice, you can learn to just tune into the pain that comes up for you and listen to it and not judge it and just feel it and see what you learn from it. See what you learn from just being able to handle it. Because emotional pain won't kill you. A lot of addictive behaviors eventually will, shorten your life and cause a lot of illness along the way and so forth, and generally leave you just not feeling good. And that's one of the ironies with turning to food, is that a lot of times we're looking for comfort, but we're leading ourselves to systemic health issues that actually make us feel worse. So learning to just feel your discomfort and know that you can handle it, and that just by being present with it, sitting there, just feeling, tuning in, and just, letting yourself see where the pain is arising, see what that's about, and deal directly with your relationship issues instead of stuffing down your feelings with food. And do work on whatever way that you want to do work, or that you feel guided to do work on unresolved issues from the past and so forth. And then what happens, and this is what I found for myself, there's just a natural lessening to turn to food, and so you will gradually regain a healthy weight, and you can still enjoy food, but will be less likely to throw yourself out of balance if you're able to handle emotions that come up. It's about teaching yourself the strength to feel pain. And at first, it might feel overwhelming. It might feel like it's going to destroy you. It might feel like it's going to drive you crazy, or somehow you're just going to want to kill yourself from the pain or whatever. And that's ego. And that's what the ego does to stay in control, is to teach you, the ego tries to teach you that you can't handle your emotions, you can't handle your life situation, you can't handle pain. So you have to do further damage to yourself in some way. But it's not true. The key to getting healthy and achieving balance in all areas of our life is learning to feel emotional discomfort that arises without being reactive in an unhealthy way to it, not needing to quell the pain with some external thing to push it away, because we can handle it. So I suggest, just practicing feeling the emotions and observing the impulse to go and get some food, but not acting on it. And it will be most difficult at first, just like giving up any other kind of addiction. The rewiring of your brain is most difficult in the beginning, because our brains, are plastic in that there's a plasticity to our neural connections. We can change them, but, it feels like they're hardwired when we're in a rhythm that has been going on for a while. So it can seem like, well, this is what I've done, so this is what I'm going to continue to do. But by consciously noticing an impulse to eat when you're not even hungry, but you just want to fill the void, you want to escape the pain, just observe that, witness it, use it as a form of practice of gaining greater consciousness. And you will be surprised, perhaps, that you can change your impulses, and that you will start to realize you want to feel better. That's what most human behavior is about, wanting to feel better. So making choices that lead you to feeling better, and maybe feeling an impulse to move your body through some form of exercise and movement in a continual way, something that is fun to you, that feels good. All of these impulses to improve how we feel will arise from being able to get more comfortable with pain coming up and not responding to it in an unhealthy way. So I wish you well on your journey, and thanks for listening.